All right, y'all. What's going on? What is good? In a bit of a rush today because me and wifey is going out tonight. So it's going to be a short night. Yo, I'm only going to be on here for about an hour and a half. I got a hard stop at about 7:30. All right, y'all. So I got a hard stop at about 7:30. So once 7:30 hit, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Me and wifey is going out tonight. What up, y'all? What up? What's going on? All right. So the phone number is pinned. And it's on the screen. If you would like to call in, talk about what I have on the board, I'm going to open up the call lines in just a second. Call lines about to open in just a moment. As y'all see, I got my collared shirt on. I'm wearing cologne and everything, and that's because me and wifey is going out tonight. So tonight is going to be an early night. I'm only on here until about 7:30. And 7:30 is my hard stop. Like I'm dead ass. Like the moment it becomes 7:30, like you're gonna see the entire thing stop because I'm going out. You know what I mean? Me and wifey's about to go out on the town tonight, so it's gonna be time for us to be together. Just make sure that my recording is on. All right, my recording is on. All right, guys, I do see some folks coming in on the TikTok. If you disagree with what I have on the board, go ahead and come on up and we can go ahead and have that conversation. I always want to have the conversation. I always thank y'all for being here for us to have the conversation. Appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all for continuing to support us. Continue to support the mission. Once again, thank you all for being here. Shout out to the mods. Shout out to Resist. Shout out to Weed. Shout out to Collapse. And shout out to Tahir. You're always here. You're always supporting me. And like I said, it's going to be an early night tonight because we is going out, all right? So I'm just waiting for any guests. If you'd like to talk about what I have on the board, the phone number is here. The phone number is right up here, is attached. And if you would like to join in, you can also join in on the link that's in the description. Have I ever thought about visiting Argentina? Argentina was on my list for a while because I like South America. I've always wanted to visit Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile. There's lots of Haitians in Chile. So I've always wanted to visit, like, especially Brazil and Chile, because there's lots of Haitians there. Haitians are a big fan of the Brazilian soccer team. So yeah, those are places that I've wanted to visit. But Argentina, over the past few years, I've been with Argentina because I don't know, man. Yeah, a lot of y'all are like our white folks up here, man. There's some race problems there. Now, it's not just Argentina that I'm wary about. You know what I mean? There's lots of places that I'm worried about. Argentina, I'm a little wary. I haven't heard that we're treated very well in Portugal either, or Spain. Those places I'm on my type of list. Denmark as well is on my type of list. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There seems to be like a lot of like racial issues happening around the world. So, well, I don't know about Argentina. Now, I'm definitely going to visit South America. I do want to visit Brazil. I do want to visit Colombia one day. Yeah, I mean, Central America's on my list too. Me and wifey are planning to go to Belize. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be our next family vacation. We'll go to Belize. Why black people need to be Christians because they use the Bible to free us. They didn't use the Quran. I mean, they also use the Bible to enslave us. So I don't see that's a good reason to be a Christian. As a matter of fact, the credit that I actually give to Islam is that Islam actually says to free slaves. Like the Quran actually says that. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the sole that's the one the only credits I'll give to Islam. It actually does say that it's better to free slaves. You know what I mean? So I'll give that credit to them. But as far as the Bible, they use the Bible to enslave us. Like sure, um, they had verses in there, or a lot of abolitionists were Christian. Sure, a lot of abolitionists were Christian, but they also used us to use it to enslave us. You know what I mean? So it was used to enslave us. It was used to free us. But when it comes to at least Western and Central Africa, or the majority of Africa, we got the religion through colonization. We got the religion through colonialism. We didn't get it because, you know, like at least the vast majority of us, it wasn't because they were convinced of this thing. It was because of brutality. You know what I mean? No, it wasn't just the slave Bible. I'm talking about prior to that. Prior to the slave Bible, they were using biblical verses to enslave us. It wasn't just the slave Bible. The slave Bible didn't come out to like maybe what, like American colonial times, and that was hundreds of years after slave trade was already underway. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just the slave Bible. They used biblical verses to say that we belonged in perpetual slavery. What racial issues in Denmark? Um, Racial issues like basically viewing people of color, people especially of my color, um, as criminal, just like a lot of people here do. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the issues that I've heard that happens in Denmark, not just Denmark but Finland as well. Yeah, I mean, so the Nordics are something I'm a little nervous about, a little wary about. Now, there's a history, like when it comes to Italy, there's a history of Italian Americans just not liking black people, especially in the Northeast. In the Northeast, like places like New York and Boston and Philly, they just didn't like black people for some reason. I'm not sure how it is in regular Italy, like the country of Italy, but as far as Italian Americans, there's and what's crazy about it is always in the North. That's what I always found funny, right? Like Italian and Irish have a history. Italian and Irish from like Boston and New York and Chicago and places like that, they have a history of not liking black people. But in the South, it's fine. I mean, I've met Italians from Atlanta. I met Irish people from New Orleans. But like when you go up north, it's a different issue. I'm like, what's up with y'all people in the North? Like, it's crazy up there. You can't call in because you're outside the U.S. I think you could call in. I don't think because this is a Google Voice number. I don't think it should be an issue. So you should be able to call in without a problem. If it does give you problems, then you'll be right. Then you won't be able to call in. But try calling in because this is a Google Voice number, so you should be fine. Yeah, I don't doubt that Scandinavian countries are pretty open minded, but I don't know, man. I haven't been hearing the greatest things. That doesn't mean that I will never go there, or I think every single Scandinavian country is racist. Yeah, I mean, like I can. Oh, it's not per your region. Okay, sorry about that, Shady. Yeah, I don't think that every single Scandinavian is racist. It's just, I don't know, man. I haven't been hearing good things. Especially, I have this beard or whatever. Yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot of, the Muslims are taking over our countries type of stuff. I mean, that's what I've been hearing about over there. So it's like it makes me wary. I mean, and it's not just Scandinavia. It's also Spain. It's also Portugal, and in Italy, at least the northern part of Italy. The southern part, at least outside of Sicily, like Rome and stuff like that. Rome and the Vatican, you're already gonna be fine there because they're used to us. But I don't know, man. It's wary. I'm very wary. I'm not sure. The majority of black people, the majority of Africa is Christian. The majority of Africa is Christian. There are a lot of Muslims in Africa, but the majority of Africa is Christian. I do agree that black people should probably practice more Yoruba than anything else. Can you dive deeper into what the prompt is about? The prompt is about us as black people. The way that we got these religions up here, except for Hebrew Israelite. Hebrew Israelite is just a cult. But Christian and Muslim, the way we got them is that they're foreign. They came into the continent from foreigners, basically. Arabs were started trading, not just gold and stuff like that, but Arabs are also trading slaves, essentially. And that's how a lot of us got Islam. When it comes to Christianity, except for Ethiopia, but for basically the rest of the continent, except for Ethiopia and Egypt, but basically Egypt and Libya, but basically the rest of the continent, it got Christianity through the Portuguese. The Portuguese first landed in like the 1470s, and that's how we got in contact with Christians. So that's how we got through colonization. All right, Ivan, how's it going, Ivan? Are you at least 18 and a Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite?
Hey, I'm 42 and I'm Christian.
All right, great. I don't believe that black people should be Christian. You think we should be? Actually, yes, why should black people be Christian?
So we are part of the Gentiles as per the Bible. And originally, the word of God was for Jewish people, but they kept betraying God, and he opened up his covenant to all people. So that includes us black people.
Why should I believe that's true?
So to go into that realm, we have to find common ground from understanding. So my worldview is that God is a transcending being that created everything. So what's your worldview? Let's start from there.
I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a God at all. The question is basically like this foreign thing that came from Levant. Why should I accept that over what our ancestors came up with?
Yep. So I think what you're saying is that maybe we shouldn't take in foreigners' culture and we should keep our culture, right?
Yes, we shouldn't deify other cultures.
Yeah, so I'm saying what I'm thinking is that it's not about culture, it transcends culture, right? It's for all people, not specific people.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Like it came from over there, right? They're the ones who came up with it.
So who came up with it? Just so we're clear.
The ancient Levantines.
Right. So what I'm saying again, let's try to find like a common ground. Like, do you believe that truth exists?
Truth exists.
Okay. All right. So do you believe that morality exists?
Sure. What I'm saying is this, right? We don't need that for truth or morality.
So because I'm saying I'm trying to find a common ground because I think that without
we have a common ground. We have a common ground. We have a common ground. Truth is a thing. Morality is a thing, right? Yeah, we don't need Christianity for morality, though.
I agree, but I'm getting there, right? So if we say morality is a thing, what are you basing your morality on? I'm basing my morality on a higher being that transcends creation. What do you base your morality on?
I'm basing it on my own values and principles, things like human well-being, equality, degrees of harm, and social consequences, things like that. As a matter of fact, I would think that you would also behave that way too.
So it comes from yourself, right? So there's no other external, I would say, factors that you derive your morality from. Is that correct?
When you say external factors, you mean like a supernatural being? No, because I don't know.
No. I mean, for example, someone else didn't convince you that morality exists. You came to the conclusion by yourself.
Yeah, because the way that human beings interact, like morality is just going to exist.
Right. So I think we cannot. What you're saying is that morality is subjective, right? It's from your perspective. You have your moral, let's say, framework, and you operate around that framework. So it's subjective. It's not objective, right?
Right. Everybody's
okay.
Yes, correct.
So that means your morality can contradict my morality. For example, you could say I think you don't belong here. This is my land, and you're trespassing on my land. So I will kill you, for example, because of you see me as a threat to you and your community and your loved one. So you'll say, I'll just kill you because you don't want to move out of my land, for example. So for you, this would be like a moral thing to do.
No, that wouldn't be a moral thing to do for me.
Okay, why is that though?
It harms somebody else.
Okay, so but what I'm trying to say is that if we start with assumption that morality is subjective, what makes your morality better than mine, right? Or even let's say I'm coming and you guys are living in peace, and then I come in and I say, hey, you guys are you don't belong here. You're not even humans. Let me just kill all of you with my bodies, and then we'll take the land, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, if this is my morality, and every morality comes from everyone, there's no common ground for morality. There's no way to all agree on morality. So it becomes a world where the one with the bigger stick or the better power wins.
Not necessarily, because like we actually do agree with some morality. We all agree that harm is a bad thing. We don't prefer harm. None of us prefer to be harmed. The only reason why people harm somebody else is because their culture has to convince them to do it. Like we're all about at least 99.9% of human beings are born with something called empathy, right? We're all born with that, or at least the vast majority of us. Only very small amount of people are only very small amount of people are born with like no empathy. Those that we call sociopaths or psychopaths, people with ASPD. Like, but that's like maybe less than 1% of the population. Everybody else has that. Like, if you put two children in a room who are from, like, if you put like a Palestinian child and an Israeli child in a room with none of the parents there, what are they going to start doing? They're going to start playing with each other, right? The only reason why they would turn out to hate each other is if adults in their life teach them to hate each other. You know what I mean? We're not born wanting to harm somebody else. We're not born doing that.
I may disagree on that, but let me actually
wait,
why
you disagree.
I disagree.
You disagree that people are not born wanting to harm somebody else?
Yes, I disagree.
All right, but there's nothing to back that up.
I'm getting there. Because since you're atheist, you don't believe in sin. So I need like a way to trace you back to understand sin, so that I can make my case, right? So I wouldn't invoke sin, but this is something that is foreign to you as an atheist, right?
It's not foreign to me. I grew up a Christian. I know what sin is. I just don't believe that it's a real thing because I don't believe a God is a real thing. Like, are you really trying to say that as a social species, we're born wanting to harm other members of our species? We wouldn't be a social species if that was the case.
No, I'm saying that circumstances can arise that makes us think that doing harm to someone else is in our best interest.
I agree. No, I agree. That's what I mean, Ivan. I agree with that. But we're not born wanting to do that. Circumstances make that happen. Adults make that happen. Certain like cultures and rivalries and human beings doing what they do, that makes that happen. We're not born with that. That's my point.
Yeah, we are. I think we are born with a capacity to do harm and to love. I think
we're born with the capacity. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying, Ivan. We're born with the capacity. I agree with the capacity, but we're not born with the desire to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. But there is a capacity for love, and there is the capacity for harm as well.
Agreed.
And what will arise is depending on circumstances and things like that, right?
Agreed.
And I think that if we want to have a moral framework, something we can rely on, right, other than ourselves, because I think we are fallible. We can make mistakes. We can believe something is good, and then we realize, oh shoot, that wasn't really good. Even though we mean good, we may do harm, right?
Agreed.
So that's why I think that I think there is a more objective morality. Right, something that transcends our vision of morality as a subjective actor.
How do we prove that, though?
Yes, so great question, and so it's hard to trace back to, let's say, this higher this objective morality from our perspective. I would like to do the opposite. Let's assume that we have, let's say, objective morality, and then trace that back to us. Can you try to do that?
Can I do what?
Yeah, so let's try from a common ground and then trace logically to see if we can arrive at a final decision whether or not objective morality exists.
I don't think we can, because even if your God were to exist, that would still be a subjective morality, because it depends on what that God says.
Yes, I agree with you. So I actually agree with that. So if we say that God is has subjective morality, I actually agree with that, and that's how I define objective morality, right? So it's something that is subjective to God, but God knows best. God knows everything, right? So I don't have my subjective morality is not better than that transcending subjective morality being, right?
All right. So let's look at the Bible. Let's see what this God has says. And Leviticus 25:44, he said that slavery was fine. So my morals are better than that, because I don't believe that slavery is okay.
Yeah, so to be able to understand that, we need to understand the whole context, not just one verse. You could have picked Numbers 31 or Deuteronomy 9, for example. Like, there's a lot of atrocities in the in the Tanakh, the Old Testament. I understand that, but you have to. Well, I believe that we should read the whole Bible, so the Old Covenant and the New Covenant as well as one, not just cherry picking verses.
Okay, so slavery was fine, but he changed his mind?
No, actually, slavery was never fine.
So why he told him he could do it?
So we have to go back to the beginning, the Genesis, to be able to understand everything that follows.
Why? Why we go back to that?
Because of context. Because of context.
What context is that?
Do you believe in causality?
Ivan, what context is there that you can enslave your neighbors? What context is there for that?
I'm getting there. I'm trying to explain.
No, but I know you're trying to explain, but Genesis doesn't tell us anything. Genesis is just about the story of the creation, right? And everybody, and Adam and Eve, and the stories afterwards, and Abraham, et cetera, et cetera. That's all it is. It doesn't really tell us what the reason for God saying that slavery is okay for. It doesn't really give us the reason for that.
It's not just about the story of creation, though. That's not what I believe.
Right. It's more than that. I was just being very constrained, right? But that's basically what Genesis is. Genesis, creation, the begottens, et cetera, and Abraham, et cetera, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a story of how everything started. I got you. What I'm saying is that doesn't really tell us why he said that slavery is okay. It doesn't really tell us that.
It's actually Genesis is actually a trailer. Like, you see, when we have movies and you have, let's say, a trailer, and you see something, and then you see other things, but you don't see how they relate to each other, but it's still like one thing, like a movie trailer. That Genesis is like that. Like, that's why if you read it on its own, it doesn't really make sense, and it actually poses more question than it answers. It's because it's a trailer. That's how the ancient Hebrews intended it, right? That's what I believe.
Okay,
so you have to unfold the whole thing to understand the whole context. That's why I'm saying, like, you cannot cherry pick one versus another, or even one book, because like Genesis is really a trailer for the things that will unfold.
Okay, so something in Genesis will also tell me why God told the Israelites that they can enslave their neighbors?
Not directly, but you have to understand like the structure of the whole Bible to be able to understand like one specific verse in the Bible. That's called hermeneutics. I
don't know, man. I don't know, man. This seems kind of ridiculous. We're saying that we got to go ahead and read Genesis. It's going to give us a trailer of everything that's to come, and therefore slavery wasn't good, but God told him to do it anyway because something in Genesis gives us a trailer. I don't know. This sounds very confused. Why did he say slavery was fine to do if he knows it's not good?
I cannot answer that right away without trying to understand without explaining to you how the Bible works.
Explain to me. I think I know how the Bible works. Okay, cool. Let's do this, Ivan. Explain to me how the Bible is supposed to work from us to understand that slavery was okay to do in Leviticus.
Yeah. All right. So I told you Genesis is like a trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a bunch. So actually, the Bible is not one book. It's like a collection of books, and there's multiple literary style in these books, right? Even in one book, there's multiple styles, right? So, for example, in Numbers, right? It's a cautionary tale. If you look at the structure of Numbers, it starts with the Israelite getting out of Egypt, right? Well, one generation, and then their generation, they're doing a lot of stuff that is that they are defying God, and they are not listening to what God is saying. So there are consequences, and we see that in Numbers. And then the consequence is that this generation will not go into the promised land. It's the generation afterwards that will go into the promised land. So that's an example of how, like, a book can present things that are atrocious at first glance, but when you try to understand the context, the structure of it, you understand the whole thing, right? So again, if I go back to Genesis, we have to understand that the plan of God for humanity, that's what it's trying to say. And then among other things, so for example, when God created humanity was set apart with creation and within a garden, what we call what the Bible says is a garden, right? And then everything was nice. We had a job to take care of a garden, but we had also like responsibilities, and then things we shouldn't do, right? And then God said, for example, this tree, you shouldn't eat from it, right? So if we, let's say, if Adam and Eve stayed there, it would have been perfect. It was within the perfect plan of God.
I'm sorry, Ivan. This is really getting us nowhere. We all know this already, bro. How does this tell us?
I'm getting there. No,
just get there. You don't have to do a preamble. How does this tell us that slavery was okay because of this? We just got to get there, bro. Because I have limited time tonight. I can't. I'm
not saying slavery was okay. By the way, I'm saying slavery is the consequence of things that other people did, right? And then we suffered slavery. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not talking about us.
And I'm not saying that.
Okay, slavery is a consequence of what other people did. All right, even if we go to us as Black folks, what the hell that got to do with us? Like, just because other people did shit, we got to get enslaved? That makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense to us. I understand, right? But again, we're on the receiving end of it. So
why?
Of course.
Why? We ain't do nothing. These niggas was in the Levant, and some dumb asshole ate a fruit from a magic tree. What they got to do with us?
Yeah, maybe I'll come back if I'm better prepared. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's hard to connect the dots between what we endured and then what the other people did, right? But that's how we got to where we are today. Like, the world is in chaos. It's like the one that has the better power, like the greater power, will use it as it sees fit, right? And we get there because of sin. So that's how I draw the conclusion between the two.
Let's ask this question.
Can I try to
go ahead, Empress.
Can I try to explain it and see how unhappy I can make Ivan really quickly? Okay, so because I think he did explain some things incorrectly, so I'm going to go through it in a few different steps. Step number one. The primary God of the Bible, the Lord God, as you see him in Genesis 2, is not the God that you see in Genesis 1. Okay? The God that you see in Genesis 1 is the Most High. In Genesis 2, nothing is described as being good. That all happens in Genesis 1. Okay. In Genesis, the man who is created in Genesis 2 is created as a slave on day 3. He is not created on day 6 in Genesis 1. Okay. He is created as a slave on day 3. And you will know that because if you look at Genesis 2, verse 5 through 15, you can even cut out verses 10 through 14. You see that it is very clear to let you know that there was no vegetation because the Lord God had not yet sent the rain, and there was no one to till the ground. So the Lord God sets about creating man, and then he sends the rains, or actually he sends water up, and he creates all the plants, and he places man in the garden. By verse 2:15, he places man in the garden to keep it and to till the ground. He is a slave. Everything about man after that is an afterthought, even in terms of creating a partner for him. Okay? Because what does he do to create a partner for him first? He creates all the animals from the ground and presents them to him. He doesn't originally create woman. If you go to Deuteronomy 32, verse 8 and 9, that's where you find out that the Lord God received as his inheritance the people of Israel from the Most High. And that explains why he only ever cares about the people of Israel. Those are his people.
And I'm sorry, Empress, can we just? Yeah, I'm sorry, Empress, can we just pause real quick?
And in slavery, okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll go. I do appreciate everything that you're saying. We just got to pause real quick because I have a limited amount of time to be here. I got a hard stop.
So I'm summing it up.
Go ahead.
Yep, I'm summing it up. So someone who does not do good things, who originally creates his first person for slavery, is always going to be in the mood for enslaving other people that he doesn't care about. Everybody else outside of Israel isn't his people, and he is always going to be good with enslaving them. Fini.
Awesome. Great. All right. So, Ivan, we're out of time with you, but you can stay up if you like. Shady had some questions, and I'm talking to Redeemed. Redeemed probably the last one because, again, I'm just waiting for wifey to come home, and then we're gonna go ahead and go out. But Shady, we're gonna talk to you next. Shady, you said you had some questions for me, but before you do that, can I get your age? Are you Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite?
So I'm 20 years old and I'm Muslim.
All right, great. Give me 1 second. Redeemed, are you at least, can I get your age, please? And Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite?
I'm 25 and I'm Christian.
Gotcha. All right. Pause for me real quick, Redeem. All right, Shady, you said that you're Muslim and you had a question for me. What was that question?
Yeah. So like just going off the prompt, when you say why should Black people and then insert whatever religion, I'm assuming you're just talking about any religion in general. Do you think that there needs to be a separate cause other than it just being true?
Well, we should show that it's actually true first.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to establish here. Like what I mean is, for example, if we are able to establish a religion as true, does race have anything to do with the reason we should follow it?
Oh, if you were to show that it is true, does race have anything to do with it? No, but we can't show them any of them to be true.
Yeah, obviously that's where we disagree from an atheistic and theistic position. So I wanted to ask you, when you specifically say Muslim, right, what's your biggest issue with Islam?
Deifies Arabic culture, and I don't feel I have to give up my spiritual heritage to deify something foreign. Then the word Christianity, as a matter of fact. Not only that, the community tends to be extremely racist and anti-Black.
Okay, so Well, I'll just address each of your points. You said three things, right?
Mhm.
It was first that it deifies Arab culture, and I'm sorry, I missed the second one, but I remember the last one being the that the community is racist, right? So what was the second point that you had?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't see a reason why I should give up my entire spiritual heritage and culture to
Not your
follow a foreign
culture
thing.
yet.
Mhm.
So, in terms of deifying Arab culture, where do you see that in terms of the actual religion? And I wanted to ask you about the whether or not the people of it or the community of a certain religion prove or disprove the religion itself. As in, for example, if we were to take any religious group that does whatever action, does that disprove the religion that they follow?
I would say it gives extreme problems to the religion. When you say what your first question was, how does it deify Arabic culture, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
In order to properly read the Quran, do I need to read it in Arabic?
What do you mean by properly read the Quran?
In order for me to understand it properly, for me to know what it says, etc., do I have to read it in Arabic?
To know what it says, you don't have to read it in Arabic, no.
All right, but for it to be read properly, do I have to read it in Arabic?
Read properly, the Quran itself is an oral tradition, so it's repeated in Arabic, yes.
Read in Arabic. Okay, great. Now everything about how to be in society, how to move in society, where'd that come from?
It comes from the Quran and the authentic Sunnah.
Yeah, so the Arab world.
No, they're not the same. I'll explain why, right? When I said that it's an oral tradition, what I meant by that is that the Quran itself is not a book, it's more of a memorized series of sounds that's sent through a chain of transmission that we have to today, right?
Mhm.
And for you as a Muslim, it's not mandatory for you to know it in Arabic to be a Muslim, right? You can go by the teachings of the Quran and the authentic Sunnah in your own language. And there's many translations of the Quran and Sunnah in many languages, and you can be a Muslim 100% and practice it in your own language. You don't have to do it in Arabic.
But can I practice my own culture?
You can 100% practice your own culture as long as it doesn't go against your religion.
Oh,
For
okay.
example,
I can
right?
go ahead and okay. And so in Haitian culture, there's
Can I
voodoo.
just give an
I
example?
can go ahead and sacrifice chickens.
No, this is what I was about to say, right? So when you go against the teachings of the religion, then you cannot do that, right?
Okay, that's what I mean,
and
though.
it stems from the
Shady.
core doctrine.
That's
of,
what I mean. That's what I mean, though, Shady. There are things
Right.
that exist within people's cultures that are spiritual or part of their heritage that they necessarily have to give up in order to follow Islam.
All right, then I would counter that with asking you, do you think there are certain things in cultures that are immoral?
Of course.
Of course. So there's no issue with dropping something that's immoral. We can both agree to that, right?
Yeah, sure. But voodoo's not immoral.
Okay, so why not?
Because it doesn't harm anybody.
It doesn't harm anybody in what sense?
Voodoo doesn't harm anybody. Me burning a candle to Papa Legba and putting rum outside in order for him to in order for Baron Samdi to take my grandmother's spirit into the afterlife doesn't harm anybody.
Right, but if you believe in Islam, right, you would not believe in that.
Why? Why should I drop that?
You get what I mean? That's what we're trying to establish here. That if you were to if I was to establish to you that Islam is the truth, you would immediately you would not be believing in voodoo in the first place, right?
Yeah, we can't show it to be the truth. That's the thing. That's what
right,
we're going back to. We can't show it to be the truth.
Let's get into that, right? So I think first we would have to establish if there's a God or not, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So you're probably familiar with the Kalam argument.
Yes, the Kalam cosmological, right?
Yeah, it's very simple, and it's that everything that begins
that's what
requires
I thought.
a cause, right?
The universe started to exist. The universe has a cause. Great. Even if we were to agree that the universe has a cause, that doesn't mean that the cause that you claim that it is what it is.
In what sense? Please elaborate on that.
Because the universe can have a cause, right? And you're saying that the cause is Allah. How you know that cause is not Olodumare?
That causes what?
How you know that cause is not Olodumare?
What is Ubuduwari or this?
Olodumare is the supreme god of the Yoruba religion. So how do I know it's not that?
What are the characteristics of the supreme god?
The same one Allah has. I'm not even kidding about that.
So what would the exact same ones?
Well, actually, there's one extra one that doesn't have. Is dialectical, meaning that it represents all good and all evil. It represents everything.
All good and all evil at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's a dialectical God.
All right, and how does that work out? Like, how do they explain that?
Because
that seems very like contradictory.
Because that God is everything. It's omniscient. It's omnipresent. It's omnipotent, and it's everything. So if it's everything, it's dialectical. It represents all good and all evil, and all spirits come from that.
Sense, okay, in a sense, you could say the same about Allah, but not in the sense that everything evil comes from Him, right? But this is the thing: when you're talking about something that has the exact same characteristics, it would just be Allah, but under a different name.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is
that's the law of identity.
I got you. But
right?
The thing
you
is,
cannot differentiate between the both.
Shady. Olodumare predates the concept of Allah by thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
what's the issue with believing in Allah?
No, there's no issue. You could believe in it. Go ahead and believe in it.
I would tell you the issue with Olodumare is what religion did you say it was?
Yoruba.
So this Yoruba religion, does it offer a moral framework?
Yes.
What is that moral framework based off?
It's the way that African traditional religion works is not really based off of like into books. It's based off their community and community continuity, basically. How the community works and how what best uplifts it and what best decreases the harm that's going to be happening within that community, essentially. But there's a framework there, but it's more about community.
I'm sorry, I just got a call and you cut out for that last portion. Could you please repeat that?
Okay, the way that ATR works, African traditional religion, is more based on what's going on within the community. How do you continue the culture? How do you continue the veneration of ancestors, and how you interact with each other? You know what I mean? So anything that has, like exactly what I was saying in the beginning, anything that has negative social consequences is viewed as something that's not good to do or immoral. Anything that has pro-social consequences is viewed as moral. And not only that, ancestral veneration and continuity of culture. Give me one second.
You can take your time.
Derek.
Hey Derek, please hold. You're in the queue. Okay, 1 second. But yeah, that's essentially what it's all based off of. It's not really a prescription of things you need to do. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this list is wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this list is good. It's not what it's really based on.
So it would change based off what the community needs, right?
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Now, would there be situations where the community would have to do something where it would harm itself, like it would harm its good for a greater moral cause?
Like what?
Let's take, for example, in Islam, one of the teachings are if there's a plague in your city or town, you are not to leave, right? That hurts your own community, yes, but it helps the greater good.
Well, in ATRs, they will probably look for the cure for the plague, because that's what it's all about. It's all about, surviving, not just passively sitting by, kind of. I'm not saying that's the case for Islam.
Of course.
In Islam, of course, you're going to be looking for a cure. Yeah, but that's what ATR is about. Like it's basically going to be protecting the youngest. They're not going to say everybody stays, right? If there are people who are old or more likely to be sick, they're going to be like, okay, we got to get these people out of here while we look for a cure for this plague. It's essentially community needs. The community is going to need someone to get the cure, but it's not going to say, okay, everybody just stays. So
what can I call you, by the way? Is it Volsi or
you call me Volsi?
What is it? All right. So, Volsi, what I'm talking about is, for example, in epidemiology, being a quarantining yourself is one of the most basic quarantining a community is one of the most basic plague contaminations. I'm not talking about the actual bubonic plague. I'm talking about any epidemic, right?
Yeah, of course. I agree.
While that might harm the current community, leaving would actually risk contaminating other people, right? So in this situation, you would be actually harming the community, the local community, the one that you live in, the village you live in, or whatever, but it's for the greater good, right? We can both agree that it would be more beneficial for a community to stay closed off when they have something deadly, right? That has no cure, which is what this particular hadith talks about, right?
Mhm.
This would harm that community, but it would serve the greater good of mankind. We could both agree to that, right?
Sort of. I guess so you're saying.
I'm like, just a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text Karma right now since we have we talk about Islam. Let me call her real quick.
Yeah, no, all good. Just know that I have an early night, okay? So till I come through. All right, but yeah. So when it comes to
Oh wait, when you leaving?
around 7:30. Matter of fact, I'm waiting for wifey to come back.
Okay, that's not a bad time.
Okay,
We have a little bit.
all right,
Like
cool.
20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're about 30 minutes. All right, cool. All right, so you're saying when it comes to like this hadith says to like for epidemiology, yeah, it is good to quarantine. No one is doubting quarantine, right? But the way that ATRs work, it's all about community togetherness and continuity. When it comes to like specific prescriptions, it's not really about that. You kind of figure out what's going to happen, what you need to do. Of course, you're gonna do the smart thing. Of course, you're going to do as much as you can to not spread the disease. But there's no prescription, right? There's no saying that when this situation happens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is what you do. No, it's basically like, okay, this is a situation that's gonna happen. The ancestors or the spirits are gonna guide you, and you niggas figure it out. That's what it's about. It's about action.
How do they guide them? What's the actual mechanism by which they guide them?
That's something you should talk to an Ife priest about. I'm not really sure. I'm not inducted yet.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, right? For me, in Islam, it's pretty clear what they.
Hold on. Can I mention this? This? Within his own doctrine, he has sacrifice using animals within his own spirituality. Like his whole spirituality comes out of polytheism. All Abrahamic religion comes out of Middle Eastern
you can't
polytheism.
substantiate
That is I can. That is archaeological fact. You just don't want to believe it because you have scholarly history. You're using Abrahamic scholar history versus geological and archaeological history, which is two different things. And you just don't want to agree with the archaeological history. Yahweh is a war deity, later on fused with the Canaanite pantheon. That is archaeological fact. And there is a method.
What's the source for that?
Yeah, archaeology.
Go look it up, bro. Go look it up on
archaeology.
On
like what source?
Google
Where do I look?
Learn it. Go learn it. I'm not going to do it for you. Do the work.
You brought it up.
Caddy's so annoyed right now. I'm telling you right now. I think Empress was.
I don't blame Caddy.
He's trying to diminish.
He's trying to diminish.
I'm not trying to diminish anything.
He's trying to diminish.
Can you give me any clue other than just saying it's just
listen.
Hold on, everybody pause. I'm sorry. Everybody pause real quick. I'm sorry, Caddy. I got you. Just give me 1 second, Shady. I think Empress was gonna say something. What was that? What were you gonna say, Empress?
Well, yes, the fact that he was so dismissive of when you brought up, another faith having the same belief systems and being much longer in existence, and he brushed by that as if it was nothing. Same belief systems, but much longer in existence. Why should Islam not just be folded into that? Why?
I can respond to that.
Out the deflection. Don't talk over Empress.
Why should someone then switch to Islam instead of following African traditional faiths?
Okay. Also, Shady, you did dismiss Cat. It was like everyone on the panel witnessed how you dismissed what he was saying. Because the moment he was bringing up his point, you got defensive. And you went into deflection mode, like a typical theist. Okay.
Caddy was so
I
annoyed,
don't know
bro.
why.
Yeah.
So yo,
Right.
so because
Okay,
And I don't,
and
I don't think I've ever seen Caddy go off like that.
Yeah, we need the Caddy
right,
usually chill.
and if you
listen,
and
Can
if
I
you
just
want
say something?
something, and if you want something to back up Caddy, the fact that you use Jesus as a prophet, there you go.
Here's the thing. Your transition from polytheism to monotheism, you need to learn that, because that is a whole transition within itself that gets into an authoritarianism, which then tries to go and colonize other places based on this one God monotheistic concept. So when you're trying to defame Ifa and the spirituality of Ifa, there's actual processes and actual methodologies they have to address certain things that happen within their community. There's whole processes that go on that is spiritual, no different from the person who's taking communion, no different from the person who's doing baptism, no different from the person who's taking the foreskin off of their child at birth. These are all rituals. These are all contracted pacts. You're just differentiating based on symbolism and monotheistic constructs. That's all, bro. You just don't do the research and the study.
All right.
Polytheism to henotheism, polytheism to henotheism to monotheism.
Exactly. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go ahead and Shady respond to that.
All right.
I know it was a
Let me
lot.
respond.
Shady.
You guys made many points, right? I'm gonna try my best to respond to all of them. If I miss any,
no problem, Shady. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry, but give me 1 second. Yeah, go ahead and respond to everything. I know it was a lot, but we do got to get to Foolish really quickly. But Shady, I'm gonna let you respond. Let me just go ahead and get Foolish's position real quick. Foolish, how's it going? Can I get your age, please? And are you any part of any of these religions?
Yes, I'm 49 and I'm an atheist.
Okay,
And
cool.
I don't believe I don't believe in none of the religions.
Gotcha.
I understand the concept of the religions.
I got you. Hold on, just pause me real quick. All right, guys. So Caddy is a polytheist. Foolish is an atheist. Kay is an atheist. Empress is an I am. So let's not try to jump them all at once. If anybody is a theist or Christian or Muslim in the chat, you can go ahead and join in right now. And Shady, I'm going to give you a few minutes because I got to get to a call. Okay?
Hopefully, no Hebrew Israelites, because I really ain't got them.
I ain't got the time for it tonight. Yeah.
all right. So,
All right,
like
Shady,
I
go
said,
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like I said, if I missed any of the points, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be dismissive earlier to Volsi. If I was, I truly apologize. That's not what I was intending.
You weren't the Volsi, you were the Caddy.
Yeah, all good. All good. Keep going.
I'm sorry. So first, I want to respond to Caddy. When I said, how do you substantiate that and what's the source? I was just looking for a point in the right direction. The internet is a vast place. Do you have the name of anything that I could, Google? I can't just search up polytheism to monotheism and get exactly what you're talking about, right? That's first. Secondly, I wanted to respond to Empress when she said these previous old ancient religions have this same idea of one God and all these attributes. We actually believe that God didn't send only one messenger, right? In Islam, one of the core beliefs is that he sent messengers throughout time, and they all preach this idea of this same God. So from an Islamic point of view, I have no issue with these religions if they believe in one God, but I do also believe in progressive revelation. And that means that, as time goes on, we should follow the latest revelation. And I forgot what Kay said. And honestly, your mic, Kay, is a little bit unclear. I didn't hear what you said. Could you please repeat that so I can respond to that?
No, I didn't after the conversation. I was just mentioning how adding on to how you dismiss Caddy. That's really all I was saying. Responding to your comment in chat. I wasn't even adding to the conversation in particular.
And just to let you know where to look at, Shady, go ahead and look for the Midianite hypothesis, because right now there's not really a big consensus on it. I think a lot of scholars are moving towards that Yahweh came from the Midianites, from the hill country, and he was added into the Canaanite pantheon later. That's kind of the hypothesis where it's at right now. That's where the data, a lot of the data is kind of pointing to. But look up the Midianite hypothesis. That's what I was just looking up to see. That's what Caddy is kind of talking about, where Yahweh was part of another greater pantheon with El and Baal and those folks, and then it evolved later on because he was a storm and war deity first. He was a storm and war deity, and because the Israelites were going around, basically having wars, who do they pray to? They pray to the war deity. You know what I mean? So it's that's how he became the patron saint of the Israelites. This took thousands of years. All right, like we're kind of compressing maybe 2,000-3,000 years of history into like a few minutes. You know what I'm saying? So like this was a lot. This happened over a course of like maybe 1,500 years that it happened. Like it wasn't simple. You know what I mean? So look up these hypotheses, because it seems that Yahweh was part of a greater pantheon, and then he got lifted into basically the god of the whole universe type of thing. Olodumare has always been the god of the Yoruba religion, and the Yoruba religion is like thousands of years old, like probably predates Yahweh. Yoruba is YORU.
Yoruba, yeah. All right. I just wanted to. I sorry to cut you off. I know how to spell Yoruba. I just misheard you. I wanted to just say something to what this theory has, right? Just because you're talking about Israelites being a certain, like following a certain belief system, right? Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with the archaeology saying that these Israelites may have been polytheistic, right? Mm-hmm. But when we talk about the origin of Yahweh, right, or the origin of the metaphysical identity of Yahweh, right, the one that the Abrahamic religions believe in, how do you say that metaphysical identity originated? Where would it originate from? Like, would you say that it was made up by the people from an atheistic point of view?
Well, like, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't understand your question. Can you ask that one more time, please?
All right. So the original metaphysical identity of Yahweh, right? Mm-hmm. In the Bible and in the Quran and even in the Torah, mm-hmm. the main issue, the reason that these messengers came was because these people were polytheistic, mm-hmm. right? So it doesn't really go against these religions when you bring this up as evidence to say that, oh, these people were polytheistic and then the religions came and made them monotheistic.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
The archaeological evidence might point towards that, sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean necessitate. Mm-hmm. Or you know what I mean?
I know.
That doesn't necessitate. Sorry, English isn't my first language.
No, all good. Necessitate. Go ahead.
So I was saying it doesn't necessitate that the origin of the metaphysical identity of Yahweh is, polytheistic.
Okay. Now I get what you're saying. The thing is, the origin of Yahweh itself, right? That's still debated. They're not really sure where the origin is, but it seems to have come from. Yeah, we agree on that. But it seems to have come, at least from what the data is showing, from the Hill Midianites. That's likely where it came from, right? And as far as when it's part of the pantheon of Canaanites, he's just a storm deity, a war and storm deity. He's the god of storms and the god of wars. Yeah, I mean, so the best hypothesis that we can come up with was that when the Israelites were going around having wars with all their neighbors, they were praying to the war deity. And when they won, the war deity is the one that blessed them, right? So he becomes their patron god. Like, it's just like how, for example, the ancient Greeks, right? The ancient Greeks, how many gods did they have? They had the main pantheon of Apollo. I understand that, yeah, exactly. But the other thing is that, well, hold on, Shady. The other thing is that in the ancient Greek city-states, what a lot of people don't know is that each city-state were picking their own. We know that Athens had Athena, Sparta had Ares, Olympus had Zeus, and Corinth had Poseidon. So they were their patron gods. If history went another way, and Athens is the one that took over the world, and the Greek pantheon never ended, we would probably be talking about Athena right now. You see what I'm saying? So that's what that's what we're talking about.
Like, may I also say something? Wait. Can I also say something?
Can I just respond to what he said, and then you guys can go ahead, please?
Yeah. Shady could go ahead, and then Caddy, you can add on to it. Go ahead, Shady.
This is what I'm talking about, right? When we talk about the major Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the first one, historically speaking, is going to be Judaism, and that one came from Moses. For us to establish that this origin of Yahweh was a war or thunder deity, we'd have to establish that what Moses came with taught a Canaanite pantheon, like you're saying, right?
But here's the problem, Shady. Moses likely didn't exist. We have no archaeological evidence for Moses. You know what I mean? So it's we have to go off of what were the people around that time doing. And Empress has her hand up. I'm sorry, Shady. I know you want to respond, but Empress has her hand up. Empress, I'm gonna get to you. Let me just let Caddy say what he was gonna go say. We'll get to Empress, and then I have to get to my caller. All right, guys. Remember, my caller cannot hear y'all. So try to stay on mute while I'm talking to the caller. Caddy, go ahead.
So Yahweh is a nomadic deity, right? Worshipped by a nomadic group, and it's between Egypt and the Middle East. Yahweh gets, like, at a natural syncretism, gets fused with the Canaanite pantheon, gets merged with the Canaanite pantheon, and then takes on a more titles with his name Yahweh. Now, my point to him and about the Abrahamic monotheistic point is that they're relying on things like prophets and people that got divine messages to turn things into a monotheism, which could arguably be just trying to do things to get more control and more power and more authoritarian and move to a more authoritarianism. Because you cannot prove to me that a God actually transmuted any kind of message through a person at all, unless it was said to be like possession or something of that nature that would connect the divine to that person. Other than that, saying, oh, he got a message in his head is a bold claim, and a bold claim that you see throughout a lot of Abrahamic monotheism. And so when we're talking about how polytheism transitions into monotheism, it's very interesting within itself, and it's worth that you go do the research to understand that whole process, because it's not like polytheists went away as soon as monotheists came about. Ifa's been around for a long time, Hinduism's been around for a long time, and there's even still Hellenistic Greeks that still practice their stuff as well. So it's not like they too haven't modernized their spirituality as time has gone on. I'll give you an example. Vaishnavites in Hinduism, they don't do animal sacrifice, and some traditions in Hinduism still do animal sacrifice. Whereas in Abrahamic monotheism, they've moved to more symbolic gestures, and there is still some Islamic groups that still do goat sacrifice as well. So like that is existent today in modern day times. So when people try to use Abrahamic monotheistic superiority complex stuff, it is strictly like colonizer empire politics adjacent. You're not superior to any spirituality in the world.
All right, so Caddy, pause for me real quick, because we got to keep it rolling. Empress, what were you gonna say? Empress, you still there?
All right. Can I respond to? Go ahead.
Yeah, just give Empress a second. Let me see if she's still there. There she is.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeehaw.
Didn't realize that. Is very much on the right path. He's
Empress, you're breaking up.
Empire building.
Hey, Empress, I do apologize. You're breaking up a bit.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Oh shoot. Okay, so these Abrahamic faiths are very much empire building guidelines, right? That's what they are for. And as these nomadic people are moving through and attacking and gobbling up other people, they have to acknowledge that they are, taking in people who have other gods. And so as they absorb other gods, they have to sometimes they have to take in their gods, taking in the other people's, they have to take in other gods, which is why, if you remember when I spoke earlier, I brought up Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. That is in the Torah. Okay, let me read it to you.
What do you mean by taking?
Empress, can you give me 1 second? I'm sorry, Empress, can you give me 1 second? Give me 1 second.
Wait, let me just.
No, I got you. Let me just tell this caller something real quick. I got you. Give me 1 second. Hey, caller, you there? 713, you there?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Hey, Paul, I apologize for that. Do me a favor, all right? I'm going to text you right now. I'm going to text you a link so you could join the panel, okay? So we can all speak to each other. That sound good?
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
All right. I sent you that link right now. All right. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks. All right.
All right. I'm sorry, Empress. Go
All
ahead.
right. All right. So what these two verses do is they acknowledge that the idea that the Most High has separated the lands of the world and the people of the world by all of the gods, multiple of the world, and each god gets a certain sect of people. Yahweh's people that he inherits are the Israelites, right? That's what this does. But every group of people is supposed to have their own God. So it says, when the Most High, this is Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. When the Most High apportioned the nations, when he divided humankind, he fixed the boundaries of the people according to the numbers of the gods. The Lord's own portion was his people, Jacob his allotted share. Now, that's as it reads in the NRS VUE, which is translated from the original text. When you read it in, let's say, the KJV, it's going to say, I think, by the sons of Adam or something like that. But when you translate it from the original, it's by the numbers of the gods, because the Most High, has sons which are also gods.
Okay.
Okay.
Empress,
So
yeah,
go
can I
ahead.
just respond to that? I'll respond to you and Caddy. I'll respond to Caddy first though, because I don't want to get in it with you because I'll forget what he said. So Caddy, you made a lot of claims. I just wanted to know, like, you agreed with what I'm saying. Like when I say that, yes, I don't disagree. The people of these lands might have been polytheistic. That's why in our belief, these messengers were sent. That doesn't disagree or it doesn't contradict our belief systems, right? That archaeological evidence doesn't contradict our belief systems. That's for responses, and for Caddy and for Empress. Even if I grant you that it says that in Torah, as a Muslim, I follow the Quran and the authentic Sunnah, right? That's what I believe in, right? So if tomorrow the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament disappeared, as my belief, it's unchanged. The source for my religion is unchanged. Do you understand what I'm what I'm getting at?
Yes,
Really.
I understand that. Wait, I understand that, but you would still be using Jesus as your prophet, and since Jesus used this as his source, you would still have to acknowledge.
No, because we believe that it was changed through time.
Wait, you believe that what was changed?
You believe
time?
who?
The Quran?
Not the Quran. We believe that the Torah and the Bible were changed through time.
Oh, okay.
Wait. So how can you use Jesus as your prophet, as one of your prophets, and then say, "Oh, well, we believe it was used, it was changed"?
We don't take like. No. This is what I'm saying. You're offering a false dichotomy. I can believe that Jesus was sent to earth. He was a person on earth that preached one God, right? That doesn't change the fact that, like, I don't necessarily have to follow the Bible I have today that's attributed to him, right? And even Bible scholars, right, and people that study the Bible do say that there are changes made to the Bible. Like, it's not something crazy to say. Like, what do you mean pick one? I don't understand.
I think there's a big difference between having a progressive view of scripture versus actual being a theocrat and actually trying to do the scripture verbatim, which turns into a authoritarianism and sort of a extremism and sort of a zealot behavior. When you look at the conquerings of Christianity, Islam, Catholicism, the conversion tactics, the underhandedness, the over the top syncretism and blending that they did, a lot of the grape and a lot of the other methodologies they did to do conversion to other people's spiritualities, it is in itself a reflection of the religion and the spirituality. To separate the people from the spirituality and say it is separate and that it's humans' fault is to just take away the blame. If you are a representation of your faith and you really believe your faith, then you have to acknowledge the dark parts of the history that your faith did in the name of your faith to other people and that history. Because it's like, it's equivalent of me being a white man saying that, oh, I don't have to worry about the things that I did to my ancestors did to black people or anything else. It's the same kind of equivalent. You can't do that. You have to acknowledge the dark parts of history and the dark things. If you don't acknowledge the things that those things, and there's another thing, how can you, if you live in a country such as America, where we allow the freedom of religious expression, but at the same time, you guys yourselves don't have a consensus within your own scripture, there will always be this infighting amongst yourselves, and there will always be these theocratic extremic zealots that want to do things toward the heart of it, to the steer point of it, versus the people that want to progressify it. And since you cannot change your scripture, therein lies the problem. You can't fit it to make it more progressive. You have to do it verbatim. That's the argument that you guys have. So with no consensus, you will always be warring each other, and you will always find yourselves feeling more superior than other spiritualities and other peoples. Yeah, and that is the problem. That is the problem about Abrahamic monotheism.
Caddy, you again made a lot of claims, and I just wanted to ask you about a few of them. Firstly, you said we either be progressive or follow it verbatim. Am I steel manning you right now? Or am I straw manning you, just to be honest?
I'm saying there's a difference between doing the religion progressively versus actually trying to do it to the T, because to the T, it is an authoritarianistic, dualistic philosophy within itself, monotheism.
All right.
There's evil versus good. There are people who are not supposed to be chosen and people who are chosen. There are others within your philosophy as Abrahamic monotheists.
Caddy, you mentioned things about grape, and I told you that, like, in our belief, what we follow verbatim is the Quran and the authentic Sunnah, right? So now what I want to ask you is, where in the Quran or the authentic Sunnah does it allow us to go and grape people or go and, kill innocent people? That's an unsubstantiated claim, right? And I guarantee you won't find anywhere in the Quran or authentic Sunnah that tells us to go grape non-Abrahamic religion people, right? That just doesn't exist, right? So I'd ask you, right, with the utmost respect, to not establish findings off of a religion, right, that are based off certain people's actions. And I established this with the host early on. I said that the actions of a certain group that subscribe to a political ideology, is a political or religious ideology, don't necessarily mean that political ideology or religious ideology is true or false, right? Whatever ideology you subscribe to, you're going to find extremists in there.
That is such a cop-out.
What do you mean that's a cop-out?
It is. And I really cannot stand when you theists do this, right? Because the reality is this. It's basically giving the energy like, oh, well, it's not the religion, it's the people. When they're following the religion and it's the religious text and teaching that is literally causing them to believe that they're doing things like this in the name of a God, you don't get to separate that.
Okay, Kay, I hear you, Kay. I hear you. But this is what I'm saying. When you say, Caddy, please just allow me to respond to Kay, because she said it was a cop-out. When you attribute to a religion that it allows grape, right? That's a serious claim. Now, how do you substantiate that claim without saying, oh, people did it that follow this religion? It would be the same as me saying, right? Oh, certain people of a certain race do certain things, so there's a correlation there. Let me just say that.
No. That's not the same thing. And that's, again, y'all are being disingenuous, because in your book, because I've heard the Quran, because my sister used to be a Muslim. So how about you answer this, since you're trying to get around this? How old was Aisha?
It's according to the historical evidence we have, she might be 9 when the marriage was consummated, or 19.
She was younger than that, actually. She was 6.
Marriage contract is not the same as consummation of marriage. That's why I explicitly said consummation of marriage.
So what he did is he did a slick little move, and he didn't talk about when she was married. He talked about when it was consummated. So the marriage was 6.
Yes,
consummation is 9.
But Empress,
No,
I
it could
just
have
want to
been
say
16
this, right?
too.
Because he's getting,
You see that? You see
because
that
he's trying to
nice
get
Could have been
around this
16.
point. How do you consummate a marriage?
Ma'am,
Empress, let me know this. Let me get this. How do you consummate a marriage? What is a consummation? You know what I'm saying. Do not try to get around.
I do know what consummation is, and I think we all know what consummation is, but I can't.
Yes, I'm like, typically, historically, how you consummated a marriage. No, because I'm not going to let you get around it. How you consummated a marriage historically, is through the, sex.
Mm-hmm.
That is literally how consummation happens. So you saying, what if the child was 9? What if the baby was 6? Let's just put that to the side for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality is this: a grown man marrying a child, and the marriage has to be consummated.
Whoa, hold on.
I'm like, by definition,
I didn't
that
say
is
child.
great. What is a 9-year-old?
Here's my point.
And a 6-year-old.
No, hold on. You asked me what's a 9-year-old.
Are 9 and 6-year-olds children? Shady.
There are people who are
they
about
children?
16 years old that I would say are not children at all.
Jesus fucking Christ! Are you
16-year-olds are
serious?
still children. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
I said 16.
16-year-olds are children,
bro.
Are you stupid?
These are
not
children.
according to most U.S. states and most.
No, they're children,
I
bro.
don't give a fuck what y'all are talking about. They are legally children.
They're children, bro.
Consent. They literally have to live
What
with
do you
their
mean?
parents.
16 is the age of consent in many U.S.
I don't care.
No,
They're
it's
children,
not
bro.
an age of consent.
This is the body. This is the body.
Hold on. Let's substantiate it.
No. Slim Shady, bitch. Do not come off of me while I'm talking right now. Because you got me fucked up talking about 16-year-olds are not children. Children, these 16-year-olds have no legal rights. And as you're trying to sit there and talk about the age of consent, that is between people who are 3 years older than them because of the Romeo and Juliet laws for people who turned 18 when they were previously dating, the people. So it's the Romeo and Juliet laws. It is not for grown-ass fucking men, 30, 20, etc., to be dating children. So do not give me that motherfucking bullshit when you sit here talking about 16-year-olds are not children. You should, Rosie, you know what? Can I drop you for just saying that?
Wait for a second.
Okay.
I want to ask him. I
was about to, but Empress, you can go ahead.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Empress.
Dang.
Sorry,
Empress.
Yeah. So here's my point.
I can't let that go.
Here's my point.
Yeah, because I wanted to hold him responsible because he tried to deny that it doesn't allow for the way that I know that the Bible and the Torah do. For example, in Deuteronomy 21, verse 10 through 14, right? But it does. So, for example, the Quran in what is it?
By the way, Rose, I didn't do that.
No, I'm changing it. Go ahead.
No, let me see let me find it. Where was it? It's
when you find that Empress,
Surah, it's Surah 24, I think 33. Also forbidden are married women, except female captives in your possession.
I'm about to read that too. I'm about to read the same thing.
This is Go ahead. You can read it.
So
he was full of shit.
Yeah.
He was full of shit.
I was gonna wait till y'all were done until you brought the 16-year-old thing, and I was gonna read that. But yeah, Empress, I was gonna say the same thing, except for females captives in your possession. Female captives in your possession are enslaved women. Yeah, I mean, enslaved women don't have consent.
And guess what? That's what I was about to say. Enslaved people cannot consent to their enslavers, regardless of the situation.
God, he says 16-year-olds are adults, bro.
So that man literally said the 16-year-olds were not children, and that's why Islam got the fucking reputation it does now. You fucking
Yeah,
You know what?
and you see, and that's the thing, y'all. When people bring up this age of consent thing, I know they're creep, because age of consent for 16-year-olds is because that their boyfriend is like 19. That's 3 years apart.
That's what I just said. It's the Romeo and Juliet
It's
law.
the Romeo and Juliet laws.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for me. I'm 38. I won't do with a 16-year-old. It's insane.
It's usually a separation of 2 years.
So, Bossy, can I say this? Like, this is
down to the fucking day.
God.
Bossy,
Caddy, go ahead. I'm gonna get out of here because I got 5 minutes. Go ahead, Caddy.
So here's the thing: when somebody tries to be a progressive, Abrahamic, they come up to the complication that they cannot be a progressive Abrahamic and literally follow the Bible to the T. So they do these acrobatics, or just any Abrahamic religion. They do these acrobatics to make the morality be more modern as a progressive Abrahamic. But when they say, oh, I follow it to the T, there's where the problem lies, because to follow it to a T is you're following something that is outdated, morally outdated, traumatically and drastically outdated. So like, you can't say that those morals are today's morals, because they're not. It's completely wrong and completely the wrong way of looking at it. So that's a good example of like, okay, you follow the Quran.
Here's the thing, Caddy. It was wrong then. The fact of the matter is that those men knew what they were doing even then, and that is why they chose children to marry. They wanted to exploit children to to groom them, to make them into submissive women.
Exactly.
That is why they were doing that. So I don't really want to hear that argument about time period, because no. There's a reason why they were not trying to get with women their own age, because they knew that as you age that it's harder to pull that nonsense.
Harder to pull it, exactly. Hey guys, I do gotta get out of here because me and wifey is going out. Let me see if she's ready. Hey babe, you ready? Babe. Yeah, come to the go. Let's let the people see our outfits for tonight. Yeah, she don't want to come on camera, but I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'm gonna get out of here.
Tell her, Peggy, say, hey girl, what's good?
I will. I definitely will. But y'all, I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do apologize for the early night. Tomorrow will go on longer, but I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for the views. Y'all have a good night. Always be secure, be affectionate, be wise, be flexible.